Hi, welcome to Two Non-Doctors. I'm Liz Mealy.
I'm Maria Shahada.
Yep. We now have to start this episode so weird because they changed the Zoom. The Zoom thing warns you when you're recording, and it's every
This
time
meeting is being recorded, but
it's
it's like
just
loud and like awful.
it's loud. They should have sent out an email. Like they should have been like, "Hey, we're doing." I guess some people have been secretly taped, so we had to put a warning. But every time I'm just like, Jesus Christ. How are you, Muffin? I like your glasses.
Thanks. I'm kind of in love with them. Like, first of all, they're blue, whatever, shielding glasses.
Yeah, the blue. Yeah. We've talked about that with the Blue Blocks ad.
Yeah.
They're like the blue shielding glasses.
I just realized it's gonna be bad for all the audio people, but like, yeah, but like,
She looks cute.
They have like that. They're really big, but I like that. But like, they have this like old school vibe, like 70s. And then
Yeah.
Johnny was like, I like them. They look like you look like you're a nerd in a porn.
No, I see it. It's got that like it's got that like I'm not wearing underwear and I also don't have astigmatism vibe. I like it. You're filled with lies. I do know because you wore it. We did another podcast together for Unpops and you were wearing them and I found myself same kind of like, first of all, I know you don't have astigmatism. So I truly was just like, where'd these glasses come from? And why are you allowed to just randomly look cute?
They're sunglasses. So
no.
like they block the computer light, but also like when you go outside, yeah, they get darker. Like a molester. Yeah.
I like them, especially because you had your hair out too. I think big glasses with big hair is like a fun look.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I went to yoga today. I've been going back to yoga and I'm beat, but like so now my hair's all wet.
I wasn't gonna judge you. This is bedhead that I put a hairband on.
Because I adorable.
Care about our
and you just woke up like that, is what you're saying.
I woke up adorable. I like messed up this week because I was like so unmotivated. Like I got everything done that I need to get done for the podcast. I usually try to get it done by Thursday night, worst case Friday morning. And I kind of like looked at my calendar and I was like, I'm not doing shit this weekend, which is very rare. You know me, I'm like a workaholic. So I'm always like, so I did my shows at night, but I was like, I'm not writing. I'm not fucking sending emails. I'm doing shit this weekend. And then I panicked on Sunday because I didn't do any of our clips. I didn't like edit anything. Like there was like a bunch of shit that I usually have to get done at least by Friday that like midnight on Sunday.
I didn't even notice. You were like, I'm so sorry. Sunday, I'm so sorry. I didn't do anything this weekend. I'm so sorry. I'll get the clips out. I was like, oh yeah. Like it's just.
And I have like a list, fine. You know me, like I have a fucking list and I just spaced or I forgot to write it down or I don't know, but like, it was great. Like I'm proud of myself for knowing that I was stressed and just not even burnt out because I don't feel like, I haven't done anything in like a year, but I just watched TV all weekend and it was awesome.
I was talking to a friend about that too. Cause like I haven't, like we haven't gone anywhere, but I feel so shit. I forgot to start timing. I feel so like out of sorts and I just feel busy and like I'm like I just need 10 days where I don't do anything. It's just like, but I had a year and a half of not doing anything, so I don't know.
I kind of compare it to just like, or like I keep saying like I'm out of like working shape. You know what I mean? Because like if you think of it this way, like because like even like headlining, I did 6 shows in Philly, then I was home for 2 days, flew, and then I did 6 shows in Minneapolis. And I remember between the first and second show on Saturday, I was like, I'm fucking tired. And don't get me wrong, it is like, I don't think people really understand like doing 2 shows a night, doing shows every single night. It is actually pretty exhausting. But like, I was like, I ran a marathon exhausted and I was like, oh, I got to get back into like talking to strangers shape. I got to get back into flying shape. I got to get back into working every weekend shape. Like I was just fucking beat. And I just think I think some of it's mental, but in general, like it was a little bit like do nothing for a year and a half and then go. And then now it's not as consistent as it used to be. I used to work almost every weekend and I had 3 weekends on and then I've had 3 weekends off. And then I'm going to have a week that I'm doing in Jersey. And then I'm going to have one night and then I'm gonna have 3 weeks off. Like it's just like that stop and go too. I just feel like I'm being tossed around and I don't have this consistent, not that we ever had a consistent schedule, but there was some kind of freelancer consistency and that's all gone too.
Yeah, I told Johnny I felt like I was like being drug behind a horse instead of like on it riding it, like as far as my schedule goes. And just everything. And I'm not even doing that much stuff. It just feels I don't feel on top of everything. And I was like, and I feel like I have a general malaise. I was like, what does malaise mean? And then he did an act out instead of telling me what it meant. And I was like, maybe, but like I had to look it up, but it's just like kind of feeling off and not really knowing why. And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, wait a minute. And then I looked at my period app and I'm due in a few days and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But just feeling like shit.
I know we have boys on here, but they should just know about women's bodies. Everybody said they would get their period early from the vaccine. And I was like,
What?
well, yeah. So everybody, I don't know if it's certain vaccines, but everyone I talked to, everyone that is a lady, I understand men don't have periods, was like, I got my period early. And then, and then I did, I got it a week early and I'm like on it. Like I always get it at the same time. And it genuinely fucked my week. Like, cause you know me, I'm super organized. I have it all written down. I know exactly when it's coming, you know,
I didn't
and
hear
it,
about that at all.
yeah, I wonder if that's specifically for for Pfizer and Moderna. That's what's happened to
Okay.
people. And I got mine a week early. My friend Danny got hers 2 weeks early. I know, and it's like across the board, all over the place. People like I don't know how long you're gonna get it early. I hope I go back on track, but that just in general just fucked me over. I was just like, are you fucking kidding? I had things to do today. I was so mad. So last week I think that would have probably contributed to my like I'm not doing anything and I'm eating ice cream. I was like genuinely mad at my body for like moving everything a
Yeah,
week
I
early.
would be too. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, I bomb more. I think we've talked about this so many times maybe, but like I bomb more before my period because I'm really tired, like a level of fatigue that I'm like dragging myself to shows. And I think the audiences might be able to tell that I'm just kind of saying words, you know what I mean? And I just always bomb before my period.
It's really interesting. I mean, I read somewhere that they're like you shouldn't be exercising, you shouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z. And I'm just like, for fucking a week every month, I just have to stop my life. Like I'm not doing that. Like
It's heaven.
it's not heaven. Like you know what I mean? Like
It's
it's just
amazing.
there's so many other precautions I have to take because of it that is already annoying. That's for somebody to say I can't exercise or I should be laying in bed or whatever. Like I did joke. I wanted to turn it into a joke, but it just kind of seemed it started to become very cliche very quickly after the pandemic happened. But I remember having a conversation with Adrian being like, why did we push so hard to have like rights as women to like, you know, because it used to be you had your period and you were like ostracized. You had to stay home. You couldn't touch anything. You couldn't do like you had to be like,
Sometimes you were sent out into a field to
yeah.
just drip.
Oh God, Jesus. But it was like, it was this thing where you're like, you're dirty. You stay over there. You can't be around others. And then, you know, I think about all the stuff I have to get done. I'm like, I have to do this and I'm bleeding. And then the pandemic happened. And this was before I even knew it was going to be a year, but like it was a couple of months where I was just like, oh no, I wished too hard and I got what I wanted. Like, so there's just this part of me that's just like, I was getting so annoyed by like just how much precautions I had to take, at least for a couple of days. And then now I'm back to running around and
Yeah, I told Johnny this morning, I was like, I wish I was on house arrest. I've
how
really had
quickly
a Stockholm syndrome with lockdown. I just really just
I hate this. Let me out. Let me back in. I was so comfortable.
yeah.
I just want to leave the house when I want to leave the house. And it's kind of weird too, where like people are starting to want to like somebody wanted to meet in the city. And I was like, yeah, but I got nothing else to do. Like there's nowhere to go. I would have to sit outside or like it's like sit inside with a mat. Like it's just like things are opening up a little bit, but I was like, it's still super uncomfortable. That was the hardest thing about last month when things opened up. You know, when you get spots, I wish they gave you like there's some serendipitous days where your spots are like doof, doof, doof. But for the most part, it's like you have, excuse me, you have a 7:12 spot and you have a 10:50 spot. And you're like, what am I supposed to do for hours? So like sometimes you meet up with a friend, but like half the time my friends weren't around. Or the other thing is you go to a cafe and you get work done, but they're not open. So I'm like sitting in a park with homeless people, like just hanging out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like
Yeah.
the amount I've looked more homeless in the last couple of months than I ever had before. And then my phone died yesterday because I was Googling too much on the Googler. And I was waiting for a train and sitting on a train doing nothing. And I was like, this is suspicious. Like,
What's
super
suspicious?
being on a train, not looking at your phone. I wasn't
Oh,
listening to
yeah.
music. I literally took my dead phone and I put it in my bag and I zipped it up. And I was like, even just not holding it, I feel like a psychopath.
Yeah. What are you doing? Just staring into space? That's weird.
I looked
You
at
should
my
be looking
nails.
down at your phone. Yeah. Yeah.
That,
It's
that was
it's
my that was my compromise.
sometimes I'll be meditating, but I'll be looking at my phone just because I don't want to freak people out.
Should we get into announcements?
Yeah.
Announcements. Hi guys. To our patrons, Patreons, everybody that supports us, thank you so much. We're super grateful. I feel like you're liking our bonuses. If you don't know, we have weekly bonuses. We are doing the 36 questions to fall in love. We are at like question 13, 12,
12,
13,
13.
something like that. We're deeply in love. But we have weekly bonuses. We have monthly bonuses. We have stickers. We've gotten some very nice messages about people being excited about our stickers. I think the mail is
Aw.
so slow because I'll always be like, hey, your stickers are being sent out today. And then like they'll be like, I forgot and I got stickers. Like
That's awesome.
so I feel like the slow postal service is really making us feel like we're delivering surprises.
Do you send out a bunch of stickers or just our sticker?
Our sticker and my cat sticker.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, this little pasta sticker. Okay. So so yeah, and then of course you can be a Google guest. We had some great Patreon Google guests recently. You can control our Googles. There's tons of benefits. Check them out. We always we appreciate your support, and we also just we like you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Follow us on the socials. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Two Non Doctors, the number two, full word doctors, and then Instagram at Two Non DRS. And if you have time to leave us a rate and review on Apple Podcasts, it helps us out a lot. People see us more with the more good reviews we have. We feel great. We posted on our Instagram.
We got a bunch last week. We had like 4 last week. It was very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Thanks for that. That's awesome. We appreciate that.
And then personal shit. Buy my book. Somebody like a newscaster lady posted my book, and a bunch of people bought my book, and it shot my book up to number 4 on the cat dog animal humor list.
That's
Like
awesome.
one lady, one tweet, and the next thing I know, I was like, my book is successful.
What newscaster? Where is she? How did she find it?
She knows my manager somehow, because my manager's like,
Okay.
I know her, and I was like, okay, thank you, manager, you're doing a great job. Um, so that was really nice. So thank you. People have been asking if they can buy it in person. They kind of can't right now. I mean, like, because I have some stuff coming up, but
You'd have
it's
to
out.
carry heavy ass suitcases full of your books, like every time you did a show. That's impossible.
Well, I haven't flown with it yet because I actually sold out in Philly, and then I didn't have any to bring in Minneapolis. So I actually haven't figured out the heavy book situation yet. I think I'm just gonna have a box and like check it. Regardless, I'm out and my publisher's out. So like you can buy it on Amazon and stuff, but I can't buy it in bulk until July. So I actually don't even have books
Oh,
to sell. So if anybody wants me to sign their
well.
book, you have to buy it online and then bring it to a show, and I'll
Looks
sign
like
it.
I'll have a hot commodity when I get mine.
Yeah, you go, ooh, it's $40 now. But I am touring Brooklyn. I added a second show, and that one is already half full. So if you're thinking about coming to Brooklyn, get tickets. It's June 5th. Then me and Maria are in Arlington, July 9th and 10th. Those are actually starting to sell well. It's half capacity. So go see us in Arlington. And then I'm in Cleveland, Detroit, Fort Worth. It will be in Austin. I'm not allowed to say anything. Houston, Dallas, St. Louis, Kansas City, and Oklahoma City. Most of the ticket links are on my website, and hopefully adding more dates soon.
MariaShahada.com. Mostly in London. A lot of the UK.
Yeah, you had some Glasgow-y stuff in there. I remember you shouting things out. You don't want to throw a city out there?
I'm going to be in Glasgow, Nottingham, Oxford, Birmingham, and I might be in Dubai in December. That's fun.
Woo!
Yeah.
See? We're doing stuff. We're back. We're back, guys. You ready for fan mail?
Yes.
Fan mail. Okay. This is from Eric. He left it on YouTube for our bottomless anxiety episode. He goes, I've been watching, oh, hey Liz, I've been watching your comedy on YouTube. You're funny. I like compliments. Thank you, Eric. The YouTube algorithm recommended this video, and wow, it's nice to know I'm not the only one and I have a pretty good life. And it's nice to know I'm not the only one. I have a pretty good life. I should not be anxious all the time, but I am. It's nice to know that I'm not alone. I almost feel like all the self-help stuff is BS. I have tried for years, but I just can't change what seems to be hardwired into my system. I totally get what you're saying about Xanax because I have the same experiences. Do you think it's hardwired? I can make it better by eating good, working out, meditating, etc., but I can never shake it. I think it's because the type of work I do is fairly unstable, but is the only thing I'm qualified to do, and I have family support. Anyways, would love to hear your thoughts if you think it's hardwired into our DNA. I just found that so interesting because I think I've struggled with, I agree that things make it better. I do tons of stuff in my life from, talking to friends, journaling, walking, running, I have meditated at different times in my life, recently. But I've done so many different things that have eased it or lessened it to a hum as opposed to like a banging of anxiety. But it does feel like it's never going away. It feels like something I manage the way a chronic illness is managed. We had our friend Nitika Chopra as one of our Google guests last season, and she manages her chronic illness, but it's never going away. And that's what she talks about, is there's flare-ups and different things that she does. And I feel that's how I feel about anxiety and some of my other kind of disorders, that it's a managing of them, but it's never a cure. It's never there anymore. So this idea that is anxiety hardwired, I think the hardest part is like, there have been changes. People have moved to different towns. People have had different, I actually don't even think that's a good example. I was going to say that like you made big changes in your life and the anxiety isn't there, but I actually don't think that's true, because there's always going to be something that kind of pulls it out. Maybe it's not as severe if you had a job where you were in charge of 50 people and it was a lot, and then next thing you know, you're in charge of nobody and you're just in charge of yourself, but it feels like there's always a flare up. So there's different ways that I think it gets intensifies. But again, this is completely opinionated, but I do think it gets kind of set, and then it's unfortunately just there. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I guess it's like, well, you start to notice it, and then it just isn't as powerful, but it's always going to be there, but you notice it more. I think eventually you can get to the point of it not being there at all, but that'll take forever. I noticed that
I think it takes a lot of work to get there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think eventually, like once you start doing the work, you can at least like notice it. And that helps. Being aware of it kind of makes it like diminishes its power a little bit.
Yeah.
But then it's never going to fully go. I mean, it's not going to never fully go away. I just think that kind of work will take a long time.
Do you think it can go into remission like it's cancer? Like,
I mean, it's an interesting way to look at it. What a very anxiety-inducing way to look at it.
I had anxiety for 30 years and then I meditated and now it's in remission.
Yeah. So you think it's like alcoholism, like once you're an alcoholic, always an alcoholic?
Yeah. And you go to enough meetings and you just don't, but like, even you can be a dry drunk where you still have the problems that caused you to drink, but you're like, you still have the underlying issues, but you're just not doing the symptom, which was drinking. Can you be like a dry, anxious person? Like, I don't know, like these are silly thoughts, but like, I don't know. My belief is that you can manage it to the point where it doesn't affect you the same way it used to. But if you don't do the work in managing it, it can flare up and be as bad as it once was, or certain situations can bring it out to the point where you are struggling with it the way you did before you were aware of it. But like a good example is I had some real anxiety inducing situations the previous weekend, and I was just off. And like, we have anxiety and our life is kind of constantly out of sorts and what have you. And I know how to kind of go through the cycle quickly so it doesn't affect me. But this was so like, I wasn't freaking out. I just didn't feel right. And I was just like this, like just tense all weekend. And by acknowledging that I was stressed, by acknowledging that I was overwhelmed, by acknowledging that I was anxious about every little thing I did, I was able to go through the motions a little bit. But if I'm being really honest, I've been having nightmares the last 2 weeks, and I'm like, fuck. So I might on the surface be containing my anxiety, but as soon as I go to sleep, like that's going to be one of my Googles. Like, it's like, as soon as I go to sleep, I have a nightmare and I shoot back up and I wake up and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like this could sound like, oh, this sucks. It's this thing that's never going to go away. But I actually think it's kind of a little empowering, the same way that like, there's a bunch of stuff that you just have to accept. And once you accept it, you do the work, and then eventually you don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah.
So if you know that you need to do breathing exercises, actually, this kind of goes into our Google today, or not our Google, our topic today. But like, if you know certain things calm you down, then you just start to do them and you don't think much of it anymore.
It's just, I mean, it's just having the tools to deal with it. Like you recognize that you have the tools to put into play to manage it.
Exactly. And also you always have those tools on you. They're always kind of mentally there, where like, you're never like, like you're never rummaging through a bag being like, do I have a hammer? Do I have a what? Like, it's just like, oh, I'm anxious. I need to like breathe and I need to go for a walk, or, hey, I'm going to take 5 seconds to like, and it might sound frustrating because you're like, well, other people, when they don't get like this, or they don't have to take 5 minutes out of their day to do this. But I'm sure there's other things that they feel unequipped for. And you have gone through the process of figuring that out. I think maybe older me used to see it as something that was frustrating, but I don't feel that way anymore, because like you said, we have the tools and we just go through the motions.
Yeah. I was like, I feel like I've done a good job of managing my anxiety, but in the same, like, as we've been talking, but also my thoughts have been, I've had heart palpitations in the past like 5 minutes and I'm like, am I dying? I think I'm dying. Is the vape killing me? It's probably killing me. Unless it's AstraZeneca. And like, I haven't done shit.
I mean, but you don't let it get wildly out of sorts the way you once did.
Yeah, I guess so. But that's just because I'm on a podcast.
I can't freak out yet.
I'm not allowed to. But like, if I were just sitting alone, I'd be like, what was that? What was that? You know, when I was little, I used to like, if I woke up in the middle of the night when I was really young, every noise, I'd be like, what was that? Are we being robbed? What was that? And that's what I do with my body now.
I mean, I do the same thing at night in general. I you know what I mean? Like, are we the same person?
I think you're the better version of us.
No, stop.
Just because you've been to so much therapy, not because you're inherently better. We're equally good, but you've just done more work than I have.
Yeah, but then I tell you what I learned, and then you do it.
Yeah. And then I tell you to meditate, and we're even.
Yeah, it's a full circle. Eric, what you need is a friend that knows some tools that you don't, and then you share them with each other. That's our solution.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right, I don't know if we helped. Thanks, Eric.
We never do. Thanks, Eric.
Googles?
Yes.
I think mine was definitely an anxiety Google. What's the difference between a birthmark, a freckle, and skin damage?
Nice one. Go on.
Thank you. So you can't really see because like this isn't like high definition, but like I almost have like right above my lip, almost like what was that model in the 90s that had
Cindy Crawford had a mole.
Cindy Crawford. I almost have like a Cindy Crawford birthmark, like right above, but it's getting Crawford. I hate you. Trying to tell a story about skin cancer and you're correcting my name of a woman.
With your Vaseline and Crawford.
I hate you. I know we're an audio podcast, but I hate you.
Sure.
So I have this kind of like mark above my lip, and I think it's always been there and it's getting darker, But also I've noticed like I have a dot above my ear that again, I can't figure out if it's always been there or it got darker. I'm definitely getting some like, I would think sunspots around my eyes, which we'll see what I read. They're like, oh yeah, that happens when you're 40. And I'm like, oh, I'm 40 yet. What the fuck? And then like I've always had like,
Wait,
so
sorry, what happens when you're 40?
you start to get sunspots or liver spots.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have darker skin, so maybe it's not going to be as bad as mine. But I am starting to get, I can tell that these around my eyes are sunspots. They look different, but like I have these dots, like I said, like here. So I have two moles on my neck and then I have two spots on my cheek. And this was my theory when I was younger, is that if my head ever got caught off, they would be able to match my head with my body because I have the two and the two. I don't know why, but I was like
That's
9
it's
and that
so
was my
funny
theory.
what you believe when you're younger. When I was younger, my mom and I both have beauty marks on our thumbs, and she told me it was called a beauty mark, and so I was like, I guess like I just thought that meant we were beautiful.
Oh,
Like you've been
I love that.
marked to be beautiful.
Yeah. But I just don't know. And I have like these spot and they're not like, see, these are like the ones on my neck are moles because they're raised. The ones on my cheek are flat. And then like I said, these are like flat. And was like, what the fuck is the difference? Because like my friend Danny, she has freckles all along her face. She's had them since she was a kid. You know, she's French descendant. So, you know, she's lighter skinned than my Italianness. But I just don't understand. And then I don't know if I should be worried. So they basically said like freckles are genetic, but can darken with age and sun exposure. Moles are caused by the skin cells that grow together, which again, like, okay. And then freckles and moles can develop from childhood and tend to keep growing as you age. So that made me feel like a little bit better because like I said, these I should have looked up if moles have to be raised. Like I don't know if this is a mole because it's not raised. But then it said sunspots are caused by a combination of aging and sun exposure. These marks are most likely to appear after the age of 40, which is likely, I don't know what the fuck I wrote. Something about age spots or liver spots. I don't know. Everything I read was like a little inconclusive because I just was like, because I'm noticing these more, like again, the one on the top of the ear is like, so I try to put sunscreen on it, but it's so hard, like when my hair is up and I'm running. But like in the last 10 years, like I have one under here and I'm like, did I just notice it one day? Or am I getting weird under the chin sunspots? Like, I just don't know if this is something I should get checked
Are you
out.
worried about skin cancer?
A little bit, because I just started wearing sunscreen during lockdown.
Okay. Okay, fine. But like I because I diagnosed skin cancer in my ex-fiance. Like
Oh
I was
yeah, I
like,
remember that.
you should get that checked out. I gotta go. I was going home for the holidays. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
later, and he's really anxious. And so he was like, you just diagnosed me with skin cancer and then left me. And I was like, yeah, no, but I had a plane ticket. So like but it was like melanoma, like it was like his spot and the picture on the internet were like identical twins. And I was like,
Yeah,
there's no mistaking that. I was like, and he was like, don't scare me. And I was like, I have to scare you. Cause I was
yeah.
like, that is, I mean, you know, he got rid of it. But I think, cause I looked up a lot about it. I mean, the easiest way to tell is if it's not symmetrical, like if you have this weird, like asymmetrical shape,
Well,
then
I
it's,
was always scared because Justin had moles on his back, and I was always just like, "Are we getting these checked out?" Like, you know what I mean? And he had tons of like not symmetrical ones, and so like I was always very aware of it for him, and I was always just like nagging him to be like, "Go get them checked," and he did, and he was fine, and blah blah blah. But like, it's weirdly the new appearance, and like the sunspots. I don't think the sunspots or the liver spots are something to worry about, but it seems like these dark ones that are getting darker. But again, they're not raised. They're not, you know, they don't look like, Europe. You know what I mean? Like they don't have like weird jaggedy. I just like, I don't know. I've just become more aware of that. And maybe it's because I now have a 45-minute skincare regimen and I'm putting potions all over myself. But I've just noticed that they're darker and there's more of them. And or I've just never noticed them.
yeah. I mean, my bet is you're fine, but like if it is really worrying you, you should just get it checked.
I hate doctors. That's
Well,
why I
then
have a
don't get it
podcast.
checked, but you're probably fine.
Thank
That's
you.
I have a
It makes me
podcast.
think of
Ask
that
your
Mitch Hedberg.
mom.
That's not, my mom worked on fur covered animals. She would be she's like, my clients don't wear sunscreen because they have coats on.
She's like, talk to me when it grows hair.
Yeah, exactly. This all just reminds me of that Mitch Hedberg joke where he's like, I didn't get the AIDS test. I got the roundabout AIDS test, where I just ask anybody, do you know anybody that has AIDS? And they're like, no. And they're like, cool, because you know me. And it's just like, hey,
yeah.
does this look cancer? No, it doesn't look like cancer. All right, I got it checked.
Yeah.
My friend with 740 resolution decided that I look fine.
You're probably fine.
Yeah. So I don't know if we taught anybody anything, but what'd you Google?
Now, I don't know if you Googled this before, but I Googled is self-tanner bad for your skin?
Oh, we had that. Why are we on the same page?
What
I
do
don't
you
think
mean?
people realize we don't because mine was about skin and sun damage, and yours is about avoiding sun damage. I'm just very proud of us because we don't prepare or discuss anything beforehand.
No, and then we just kind of end up having similar things, and then they go into the topic, and it's just like we are so in sync.
Yeah,
obviously, everyone says it's better for you than actual sun tan, but the chemical in it is called DHA. It's like the hydroxyacetone or some shit. And that's what changes the color of your skin. And they get it from like beetroot or chemical processes or natural processes, but it changes the color of your skin. The thing is that this is one website that I read. If you go out into the sun after that, the DHA actually enhances the free radicals that you could end up putting on your skin.
Oh, it's like a highlighter, or like in the 80s where people had those little like mirrors that they like put over their chest to get like to ask the sun to come to them.
Yeah. So the self tanner is actually like bringing in those free radicals. So I guess like you're supposed to use it and then not be in the sun like until it comes off. I like where you wash it off. Like I have a self tanner that's you leave it on for 8 hours and you wash it off. So like the best thing to do is just put it on at night, take a shower in the morning, and then you're fine, but still use sunscreen, obviously. And then the other thing was I just take notes. Why don't I take notes? I'm like, no, I got it.
Yeah, I absorbed it.
Tons of information. Literally absorbed it. You'll be, so you're exposed to more UV rays because the DHA makes them more unstable. In DHA treated skin, more than 180% additional radicals were generated during sun exposure with respect to untreated skin. So then it gets accelerated aging because of that oxidative stress, and that can speed along skin aging, fine lines, wrinkles, hyperpigmentation, and sagging. DHA has also been linked to DNA damage, leading some researchers to question its long-term safety. I'm going to skip that. Then you produce less vitamin D.
You're gonna skip the thing that self tanner might kill you.
I don't buy that shit. Sorry. There was one study somewhere can reduce your body's vitamin D. But I was also the person in college. I wrote a paper about how asbestos wasn't that bad for you. So
no, you did not.
Yeah, I did.
What are you, a contractor? You're like, it's not that bad. What, kids are dying?
I know. I tend to just like dismiss things. I'm like, it's fine. They have DHA free self tanners, but they do the same thing, and the tan doesn't last as long. And that comes from raspberries instead 10 days, like 3 to 10 days. And the DHA free self tanner comes from raspberries, and so you could turn kind of red instead of orange. And then it goes.
I've never used a self tanner.
I did. I used the gradual one like twice, and I'm already kind of tan, so it's hard to tell. But I have self tanner on.
Well, yeah, it's hard because you already have like a brown skin tone. But I did notice that you were darker.
But I didn't really put it on my face, so I don't know. I don't know if that's just natural or not.
I tan very easily, and I have an olivey skin tone, so I do feel like I can look at myself right now and feel pale. But I've never I just kind of embraced that I have like neon legs.
And here's the last thing. Sorry, the spray tans are worse, the spray ones, because now you're like not only putting it on your skin, you're also inhaling it, and it's terrible for your upper respiratory system.
Oh, interesting.
But that can also be an article trying to make the like worst case scenario to
but I mean, even if they're trying to scare you, I mean, they're not trying to sell anything. Don't go in the sun, don't get self tanner. Like, I'm sure somebody's trying to put something out there that's a little more safe or whatever. I don't know what the obsession is. That's just like not one of the things I've ever, and I'm from Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl. I don't know
That's probably why you don't like it. You're just kind of rebelling against all the Jersey girls who are orange.
it was just never something I was like, I don't like I said, don't get me wrong. I sometimes I'm like, ugh, like I'm very pale, but like I don't do anything about it because I'm just like, I just is like, sorry. Sorry that I'm a reflector at night. um, yeah, well, just in general, like when we did that episode about like chemicals and beauty products, like sunscreen was one of the ones that were like toxic, and you're just like, what the fuck, man? Like it's just so frustrating that you're trying to prevent, you're trying to be healthy in one area, and then the thing that's supposed to help you is toxic for a whole other reason. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah, I know. I know. But like, yeah, so it's like, what's the lesser of two evils? Yeah.
Also, what we have learned, and I've actually, that esthetician that I found that I like, Europe just has such better quality stuff that I wonder if the self tanner in Europe is better for you than the self tanner you'd find in America, where they don't give a fuck if you're dying.
Maybe I could try to compare ingredients or something.
Yeah. Or just like, I'm sure there's people that like this EU approved self tanner actually doesn't slow your insides and turn it into mush.
Like radioactivity.
What I'm trying to say is quarantine is the safest our skin was, and there's no reason to leave the house. Let's get personal.
Uh-huh.
Let's get personal. This is like just like a fun softball question. What's the best book you've read or had an impact on you? I have a few. So it doesn't have to
Go for it. You go first.
I would say one of the books that had the biggest impact on me was Me Talk Pretty One Day, which is David Sedaris.
Literally the first book I thought of, I swear to God.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? I read it when I was 14 years old. I saw it like truly like was in a Barnes and Nobles, needed a book, like needed a new book, saw it, said it was funny, didn't know who he was, and it changed my life. Like I was already into comedy, like I was already into stand up, but like he was writing about, I think he's one of six, and he was writing about being from a large family and having these issues. I forget, he didn't have a stutter. There was something else. He like didn't pronounce a lisp. That's what it was. So he had all these issues and he made them hilarious. And he had this crazy family and he made it hilarious. And I remember reading that book and being like, I didn't know you could do this. Like, this is incredible. And so then I read his backlog. So then I went to like Holidays on Ice, and he had like a more fiction-y book. And then of course except for, we talked about it in an episode, I haven't read his diaries, but I've pretty much read every David Sedaris book that's ever come out since, because he changed my mental trajectory of what I can talk about.
I didn't know you could write like that, like in like this sort of like personal essay memoir style. So I guess that changed like writing for me. I started writing in that way. I wrote a lot of essays, but I probably deleted them all. A book that changed my life. Fuck.
I stole your book. This is why you should have gone first.
I know. I feel bad saying like no books ever changed my life. That's probably not true.
That's not true at all. Is there a book that you always recommend to people? Like I have a couple of different books that, like, me, I'm always telling people to read certain books. I'm like, you gotta do this.
Easy Way to Stop Smoking by Alan Carr. I always recommend that.
It
helped me quit like 3 times.
Probably not the back of the jacket quote he wants. Fiction-wise, Roald Dahl's Collective Stories. It's basically all of Roald Dahl's adult short stories. Again, I didn't know you could write like that. Like, it's weirdly, some of them are only a page long, some of them are a couple pages long, but it's like truly almost the format of a joke. It's, the setup and then the punchline. Like sometimes the last line, you're like, what? But I was like, I read that book and I was like, holy fuck. This is such, and of course I loved Roald Dahl's like kids stories, and he's not underappreciated, but his collection of short stories, I want to reread them. I haven't read them since college, but like it's, whenever somebody's like, what's something to help me be a better writer, or what's something just to read, I'm just like, dude, it came out in 2006. Life-changing, like just such a great, it just, again, because they were so short, but they were so dense and they were so interesting, and they almost kind of how science fiction is written, where it's just like, on Netflix, they have, I think it's called like Sex, Death and Robots, or Love, Death and Robots, something like that. I watched one from the second season. I heard the second season isn't as good, but there's a couple really good ones in the first season. And they're these shorts, animated shorts, but a lot of them have like a sci-fi-ness to them. And again, there's these twists and these ways, like they change the way you think. And that's how I felt about Roald Dahl's collected short stories. They were just, I was like, fuck, man. I just love his
Isn't
brain.
he a racist?
I, I forget what his thing is. He's
Because
either
of
like
the
anti-Semitic.
Loompas were like, it was like a racist, and
I'm
never
sure
mind.
there's so many bad people. I'm not saying.
Why am I doing? I'm just like, I
No,
can't have a book, so I'm
no, and
just shitting
I'm
on
not
yours.
justifying it either. You know what I mean? I think isn't like Disney a Nazi sympathizer? There's so many
Yeah,
evil
there's terrible.
people.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that Disney has become even more evil. But yeah, I don't condone anything horrible about Roald Dahl, but I will say his collection of short stories are pretty. It just, I don't know. It changed the way I thought you could write. Like it just opened up a door mentally for me. And it's just entertaining if you need a good book.
I read the Rum Diaries by Hunter S. Thompson over lockdown. I really liked that. Like, I want to do my own. I want to write like that. I want to write something
How is it written?
like that. I don't know. It's just a guy who's actually kind of a dickhead. He goes down to Cuba. Fuck, changed my life, and he's a journalist, and he just kind of, it really kind of feels like he's a bit whipped around by what's happening around him, but it's just kind of his crazy journeys. But I just want to write about like a descriptive book about crazy journey. It's like all I could think of. It's just like Rum Diaries. It's like, yeah, but surely there's another book, Rum Diaries. Okay, fine.
And then my last, like, I won't go into as much detail. The Glass Castle. Whenever somebody says they need a good memoir or they want to try to write a memoir, I go read The Glass Castle. It's a, clearly bestseller. But she also wrote Half Broke Horses. But The Glass Castle, again, written in a way I didn't know you could write a memoir like that. Like, it's just so simple yet powerful. It's like you're almost upset how quick of a read it is because it's so amazing. And then, of course, I always talk about the dyslexic advantage. Okay.
Wait, I have a bunch of books behind me.
This was supposed to be life-changing. It's not supposed to be like what you read when you were sad.
Yeah. I read The Great Gatsby. That was good.
The Great Gatsby? Nobody's heard of that.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to shit on me.
Just that thing everybody has to read in high school?
I didn't have to read anything in high school. I wish I did.
What high school did it make you read?
I read like one book, and I think it was by John Steinbeck. But like, no, I never read Great Gatsby, so I read that a couple months ago.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I liked it. Guys, Great Gatsby. It's
Great
great.
Gatsby. That's my recommendation. Get in there. Topic. Okay, this was your choice. Tapping. And I have to say, in researching, I kind of got into it.
Did you?
Yeah.
It made me angry.
Interesting. Because if anything, I would think you would be on board with it. Did we do an episode on acupuncture? I think we did. Yeah, we did do an episode. Because I would say I'm pretty sure we did early lockdown. And I think this is kind of like a parallel in some ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is what your let's get personal question makes me want to do. Just tap.
What's interesting about it is I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos and I found it to be kind of aggressive. Like, it actually made me uncomfortable, and I don't know if I'm doing it too hard. Wait. Okay, so we should have first define it. Like, let's start with, so tapping, also known as EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, is a powerful holistic healing technique that has been proven to efficiently resolve a range of issues, including stress, anxiety, phobias, emotional disorders, chronic pain, weight control, and limiting beliefs was the last thing it said. And I was like, I was with you until you said limiting beliefs, where I'm just like, I'm going to tap and like believe in myself. Like, what are we doing here? It could be referred to as tapping or psychological acupressure. People believe tapping the body can create a balance in your energy system to treat pain. Let's just give a basis before we say everything. There's a bunch of different points. So there's basically like the heel of your hand. It's known as the karate chop spot is I think it's like here is like one of the places.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the top of the head. Actually, the way the woman said it is that you do the karate chop place. This is like the order, I think. Then you find where your hair stops in your eyebrow and you tap right there. So like the beginning of your eyebrow on the bone, and you tap there. Then you move to where right next to your eyebrow on the side, like next to your eye, and
Your
you tap
temple,
there. Yeah, your
right?
temple. You tap there. Then you go to like right under your eye and you tap there. Then there's under your nose. Then there's the chin, but it's in the crease. So you have to be in the crease. And then there's the collarbone. You're supposed to be like an inch below the collarbone, like where the bone is, you go an inch below, and there's the inch below your collarbone. And then there's like maybe like 3 inches under your armpit. They say right where like the bra line is for women, and you tap there. And that's supposed to be, oh, and then the top of your head is after
You
that.
did that already. Okay.
Oh yeah, but I was saying when you're supposed to do it in order. So that's, I watched the videos, so I'm pretty much an expert. So that's supposed to be, if you start from the eyebrow and then go all the way back to the head, that's supposed to be like one cycle. And they say you're supposed to do it three to 5 times a day for a couple of minutes. So it's not supposed to take a lot of time. But then there's also like mantras. It's weird. I'm like in the middle on like mantras where I both like, I believe in them, but also I hate them. But I hate them because I hate foo-foo-y stuff, but also
I hate them. And I this is what turned me off to the tapping was the having to say I like am at peace with myself and like as you're
yeah.
tapping and I'm just like it's too foofy for me. Mantras, like one guy who I think was the guy who's like sort of a pioneer of it. He's been doing it since 2012, I guess. And he said to give not it wasn't even affirmations. It was like say what you don't like about yourself out loud. And I got really upset doing that. And then other people have said like affirmations. And I'm like, is silent tapping a thing? And I guess you can still silent tap, like you don't need to say them. But
The thing I saw
find
the
it's
most,
just
yeah, sorry. No, say what you're saying.
nah, I don't know. I just hate it. I do.
It's interesting because I wanted to hate it and I actually started to not hate it. So the most common mantra I heard is even though I have X problem, so even though I have anxiety, I accept myself. So you're even though I have anxiety, I accept myself. Whatever. But like my thing is because we did an episode on Dr. Sano, I think it's Sarno, the healing back pain, which is his is all about acknowledging the stress, talking about it, whatever, and like kind of letting it go, and that heals like your most major, like basically chronic back pain, but shoulder and neck, I think, is all psychological. And so to me, this is just another form of that. Or like it's a mixture to me of like acupuncture because it's pressure points, but then also acknowledging your anxiety or stress or whatever. I don't know how this pertains to weight loss or whatever, but like if it comes to being anxious or stressed, I can see how focusing on your body, which they always say, like even meditation, think about meditation where they're like, think of your head, think of your neck, think of, your shoulders, think of your butt, like, you know what I mean? And you go through all that and you feel everything. To me, this is a bunch of things we've all done in different aspects, but it's in this very quick tappy situation. And then the mantra isn't much different to me, or at least what I've read of the Dr. Sarno, like I am stressed and that's why my back hurts and I'm going to acknowledge it and I'm going to try to let that go. I'm not like, let's tap dance our face, but like I am a little bit like I can see how this might be helpful because you're bringing focus to the body. You're taking a little bit of time to be calm, and then you're also acknowledging your pain. And maybe even just as simply as doing those things is enough. And that's where some of it comes from.
Yeah, but they like make it a point to like do it on meridian lines, which I don't really understand a lot about acupuncture, but what is that? Do you know what I mean? Like I could see how focusing on something, because now you're focusing on your tapping and you're not focusing on the pain, how that might help a little bit. And I know how affirmations work, so that might add to like causing less stress, but I don't know where the meridians come into this.
What is the meridian line in general? Like what is it supposed to, is there a significance to it? Your eyebrows look incredible, by the way, as you were
Thank
tapping them.
you.
I was like, they look really good.
I know. It's like, I can't believe I'm wearing glasses when I just had my eyebrows done. I told her to go like thinner with them because I was like, they've just been too thick. As with acupuncture and acupressure, tapping involves the body's energy meridian points, which are a concept in Chinese medicine. Proponents believe them to be areas of the body through which energy flows. In this theory, blocks or imbalances in the flow of energy lead to ill health. According to EFT advocates, tapping on these meridian points with the fingertips restores the balance of energy to resolve physical and emotional issues. It can also work in a similar way to mindfulness, as it can draw a person's attention to their body, which is what I was just saying, and breathing.
Oh,
It,
yeah.
it may serve as a mental distraction from the issues that are causing anxiety or stress, but the meridian thing, apparently it's like unblocking the chi and letting energy flow.
It's interesting because we've done stuff on Chinese medicine, we've done stuff on acupuncture, we've done stuff on psychological pain. I think exactly what you just read, which is that it clearly has some kind of refocusing, because even just talking about anxiety, because of what Eric wrote in, you're focusing on this outside stuff, a bunch of stuff you can't control, and then this makes you refocus into how your body's handling stuff. It gives you a time to kind of calm down. I don't know if the tapping, like, you can't, like, when I was doing it along with the videos, you can't not acknowledge that you're hitting your face. Like, you know what I mean? And it is, I find it actually super annoying and like almost aggressive. And I'm not hitting myself hard, but I'm like, I don't like, as I do this, I'm like, I don't like this.
I don't like
So
it.
there's a part of me that wonders if it's so annoying. I feel bad for people that teach us stuff and we're just like, it's annoying and that's how it helps.
So annoying.
But like, I wonder if there's something about it really makes you have to, the same idea if like somebody starts poking you in the chest, or, when you're like your kid and somebody starts like hitting your face, you're just like, are you fucking kidding me? But like, I wonder if it's like you annoy yourself into focusing on your body instead of your outside sources.
Yeah, but it's kind of the same logic as like having a rubber band or something on your wrist, like when you're anxious, like having that to kind of
Yeah.
smack onto your wrist, and then so you're focusing on that instead of what you're anxious about.
Yeah.
I just don't see why, like, it just feels like made up. And so I feel like there's money to be had with tapping practitioners, right? Is that, I
How
feel
is there
like,
money to be made? You teach it. I learned it in a 3-minute video.
because they have workshops. So I sent you a thing in the Guardian, and there was somebody talking about it, and I'm pretty sure they were probably selling a workshop at the end. Let me just find that.
I mean, everybody's selling something, but I just, in my mind, like, it seems like the most easiest practice to pick up and do on your own. Like acupuncture, somebody has to put needles inside. Like, you have to go to a professional acupuncturist person, a chiropractor. Like, there's all these different things that people believe in or don't believe in that cost real money, and there has to be real expertise. But this tapping thing, if it is helpful to you, you don't really need, it doesn't take that long to learn. It doesn't seem like you really need anybody to help you. There's tons of free shit online. I don't even know how somebody that was trying to take advantage of people would.
I don't know. I don't.
Doing it in the wrong order, I'll tell you that
I don't
much.
give a fuck, okay? Because this is making me feel better, all right? I'm already less stressed.
We're just like smacking each other in the face. It's funny. I actually really wanted to hate it. And there are things that I think feel a little foo-foo about it. But at the same time, I'm like, why not try it?
You look like a moron. That's why.
Yeah, but like, you've been trying to get me to meditate for a better part of a year, and I've
You don't
done
look like
more.
a moron meditating. Sorry, you've done more tapping. I'm sorry. It's fine.
Being aggressive.
I just
I'm
don't.
not
I
even
don't.
trying
I
to
don't
be a
know.
contrarian.
I have like such an adverse reaction to it. Like I don't understand it. But I
It is kind of
hate
weird.
it.
I did not expect you to hate this much, and I also didn't expect to be on the supporting side. That's what's
I
really
know.
weird about it. Is like, I was reading it in the same, because we're similar. I was like, what is this crack of shit? And then I was like, I don't know. But like I said, because there's enough components, because of mantras, because of the Dr. Sarno, because of acupressure and acupuncture, like all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is just like a simpler combination that seems really accessible, to the point where if you taught a little kid this as a way of calming down from a conniption, I think they could handle it. And it might be, not based in reality, but if it does the trick, if it's like a placebo effect, who the fuck cares?
Yeah, I mean, yes. There's a decent amount of research to suggest that tapping might work to help you lose weight. This is what I want to understand.
Yeah, that I didn't really get.
Elevated cortisol does have a relationship with weight gain and binge eating patterns. So if EFT tapping stabilizes your cortisol levels, it may work to help you lose weight. Well, you might as well make that claim with meditation or anything else that reduces stress. Like you could say stress balls help you lose weight, because it'll decrease the cortisol levels in your brain.
Sure. I mean, that's the weird thing, is that when something can't be solved, they always go, are you stressed? And you're like, yeah, I'm always stressed. Who's not stressed?
No,
Like, it's so annoying where they're just like, that didn't get solved because you're stressed. And then they somehow blame you for the stress. And then it goes again back to the thing where you're like, who's never going to be stressed? You just have to learn how to handle your stress and maintain it and be healthy about it. But this whole belief that I'm never going to have stress, go fuck yourself. Like, I just feel like the amount of times every single doctor, like regular doctor, holistic doctor, my therapist is like, well, if it's not, if you tried all these things and it's not working out, it sounds like it's stress. Okay, yeah, but like stress feels like this like ghost that's just always around, that's like slamming cabinets, and you're like, hey, I think I have a ghost, and they're just like, have you thought of talking to the ghost? Have you thought about like leaving out a snack for the ghost, and maybe the ghost will go away? Like, it's just like, it's always this thing that's haunting me, is my stress.
Yeah, and it does like keep you from finding like real answers to your problems, because that's always a possible answer. So it's like, well, you could be stressed, or it might not be stressed, and we can actually try to solve this instead of
Yeah, or
blaming
you could
me and making me go meditate. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, you could get an MRI, or you could like manage your stress better. You're like, I'll start with the MRI. Thanks so much. Like, but I'm not saying I don't try to manage my stress, but it also is like, in what world are we never going to have stress? Is that really the reason everything about my body is falling apart?
Well, yes. And I think if you're reading The Power of Now, what was his follow-up to it? Like The New World?
No, The New Earth.
The New Earth. Wasn't that all about like everybody's done the work and now like everything's better? I don't know. I didn't read the new. No, I did. I just don't remember it.
Yeah, I read it a long time
Life-changing.
ago.
I think The Power Now. Power Now might be my life-changing book.
Yeah, because we encapsulate the power of now.
it made and it made me aware of pain bodies and like being aware of that stuff. So it's like that was the first step, and and I listened to it, and we should go soon. But I listened to it, and it's one of those books you can keep referencing and going back to.
Yeah, I agree. It had a huge impact on me, and actually, The New Earth had an even bigger impact on me. Yet I have no desire to reread it, so I don't know what that means. Am I going to start tapping? Probably not, but I can see how this is an accessible way of acknowledging your stress, anxiety, and pain, and giving you a free, because that's the other thing. It's, it's holistic, it's free. You don't, like, I watched a couple of videos and they're like, that's it. Like, that's all you got to do. Like, what a great equalizer if it does help people, that it's so accessible and free.
Yeah.
Because acupuncture is expensive.
Yes, I know. I haven't been meaning to try that. Okay.
So has anybody tapped?
Let us know if you tap in.
I would like to know if anybody's tapped, if they have any kind of experience with it, if they know like friends that have done it, or something that's kind of similar, because there's all these like branching out things of it. But yeah, write us in about tapping, and you can email us clearly at 2non-doctors. That's 2 non full word doctors at gmail.com. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.